Okay, howdy everybody, and welcome to camp. There we go. Oh, we didn't update the date, but that's fine. I just want to introduce everybody. I'm Dylan Hendrickson. I'm the camping director, and I'll pass it over to Bruce.
Hi, I'm Bruce Lee. I'm the camp director for this year at High Sierra, and I'll pass it on to Nate.
Hey everybody, I'm Nate, program director again for Camp High Sierra. I'll pass it on to Alex.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex. I'm the assistant program director this summer. And I'll pass it to Janet.
Hi everyone, I'm Janet and I'm the program manager and I'm in charge of Tantaroo. Welcome.
Okay, so we're just going to kind of jump into things. Welcome to camp. If you saw the previous slide, that's the, oh, nope, there we go. This is, we're going to talk about all the different documents and things like that that are available at the resources section of the website. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to review these and see these already. The leader's guide is posted there, the saga of CHS, the camp primer, new to camp presentation and videos. So this recording will be posted along with the new to camp presentation. So if you have anyone who has never been to High Sierra before, there's a great video up there that kind of goes through the basics, especially for the adults. We also have the new course offering / merit badge schedule that's posted. Hopefully you've been reviewing that for next week's merit badge signups. And then we have the things that are required for 2023. And then, of course, any current openings, which we've largely been able to sew up. Let's move on to the next slide. So there are some important pre-camp preparations that you'll want to make, and we have extended a few offers to make sure that this is as easy as possible for everybody.
I think it might be open.
The first big thing is that all adults coming to camp have to be registered in the BSA. So at our camp, this is a pretty big thing. We want to make sure that everyone is covered. We can still take a guest during the day, but if you're staying overnight, we need to update that. But if you're staying overnight, they need to be registered. That means having youth protection done, mandatory reporter training, and that they're live scanned. Also, all the youth and adults who are staying in camp for that long need to have parts A, B, and C of a medical form. If you're in for under 72 hours, you just need parts A and B. So maybe you have a couple of adults who are splitting the week. They'll just need forms A and B. They won't need the C part, which is the physical with the doctor. The other thing is that units will be held at the top of the road. So when you show up, please travel so that you're not super spread apart, but we're going to hold your unit at the top of the camp road so we can let your whole unit down together. This is to make it more convenient for not only check-in, but for people getting in and out of the parking lot. And we want to avoid any accidents or anything like that that may potentially happen on the road. Anyway, important other pre-camp things is that when you've done these two elements, i.e. when the adults are registered and then all of the youth are bringing their health forms, we will check your health forms beforehand if you have them turned into the office as a packet. We'll talk a little bit more about this on the next slide, but if you can see that sign right there, welcome to historic Camp High Sierra. That's the sign that you're going to see at the top of the camp road. Here we go. So the required paperwork, you'll kind of see a picture of the health lodge right there. It's near that kind of totem pole looking thing. We have the different parts of the health form. like I said, the council review of the health forms is available. We want you to get those in at least 2 weeks beforehand. If you collect them as a unit and turn them in, we'll review them for you at the office to see if there are any common mistakes or if we can catch anything that might be missing, so that you don't get any scouts who show up to camp and then all of a sudden have to go and get a physical or have to get a physical form faxed up before they can do anything. Another form that you want to make sure that all the scouts have a copy of is the shooting sports release form. Any of the youth who are going to be participating in any of the shooting merit badges, rifle, shotgun, or if they're going to be doing any of the shooting free time activities like cowboy action shooting or black powder, want to make sure that they bring a shooting sports release form. We do not need the 4 copies that it says you need to print out on the form. We only need 1 copy of that shooting sports release form. Another thing that we need is the parents' commitment to transport. So we still do need this form filled out. The public health emergency for COVID has officially ended, but that does not mean that our risk management committee and our council physician are still not putting policies into place to make sure that we mitigate any COVID spread at camp this summer. The parent commitment to transport is part of that. So basically, if there is a medical emergency at camp for a youth that requires them to be transported away from camp or a disciplinary issue, the parents are committed to come and picking up that youth within a certain amount of time. I believe it's 24 hours, right, Bruce?
Correct.
Okay. Proof of negative COVID test or proof of vaccination. So I've gotten a few questions about this already. They're like, hey, the official word on the street is that the health crisis has stopped, but that does not mean that our council physician and our risk management committee don't want to make sure that we're not safe as possible up at camp. So we will need a proof of a negative COVID test if you are not vaccinated, i.e. if you're not vaccinated, we need a picture of a negative COVID test within the last 24 hours before a youth or an adult comes to camp. If they are vaccinated, we are still asking that you take a COVID test 24 hours prior to camp, but we are not going to be reviewing a picture or proof that the test was negative. We're asking that scouts keep to the scouting principles, and if you're testing positive or if you've been exposed prior to camp, please do not come to camp so that we can avoid other people getting the illness. We will answer any questions about this at the end as well. So if you've got some questions, please feel free to type them into the chat or hang on to them until the end of the presentation.
So just a quick update on that. We just got an update from risk management this afternoon.
Okay.
And the verbiage is going to be strongly recommended that everybody does a COVID test before they come to camp the day of, but it's just a strong recommendation. Obviously, if any of your scouts are sick, keep them home. Please don't bring them. Last year we had somebody who all 4 people in the house had COVID, but the 1 kid did not. And they sent him to camp, and that caused COVID to run through camp all summer. So that goes for a cold or anything else too. So please, if your scout is sick, don't send them to camp.
Okay. Medical check-in. This is your slide, Bruce.
And all of them have been my slides so far.
I know, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it. My bad.
All right, let's see. Now you got, okay. So we talked about the medical forms and the shootings forms that need to be provided when you get to camp. So the first thing that you'll do once you drop off all the gear in the flag meadow is you'll be met by a troop guide, which Nate will talk about more later, and you'll go up to the health lodge. We want all of these forms to be in each scout's hand or each adult's hand. We find it really slows down the process if you get to the health lodge and then whoever your adult leader in charge of forms is decides to hand them out then and tries to find all the scouts and gets all the forms to each one. So we will keep you in the flag meadow until each scout has their forms and you get those to them, and then we'll take everybody up at one time and that'll speed your process through the health lodge. Don't forget that everybody needs to have their immunization, and the main one that we're going to be looking for is tetanus. We are an old lumber mill and there's a lot of old metal and stuff in the ground that sometimes will pop its head up. So please make sure that they have all their vaccinations are current on their Part C. Or actually, I think it's on Part B, sorry. And so otherwise, we'll ask you to either call the parent and get something updated from the doctor, or if you don't have the immunization, we would send you back to Sonora to have whoever have it get it. So usually it's the adults that don't have it because it's good for 10 years. And we've unfortunately had to send a few adults every year down to Sonora to get a shot, which is no fun for anybody. Prescriptions. So any prescriptions that your scouts are taking, those will be maintained by this troop themselves. We will provide you with a locked box to keep your medicines in. We request that any prescription medicines be kept in their original bottles. So if we have any emergencies or anything, we can look at the actual prescriptions and figure out what's going on a little bit better. And obviously these are going to be documented on the health forms also. And we talked about the forms. Now, if there is medicine that needs to be refrigerated, that can definitely be done at the health lodge. We have refrigerators dedicated to scouts up there. And then if somebody has either an EpiPen for some type of allergy or a rescue inhaler, we say that that scout should have that with them at all times. Because, you know, if it's in camp or it's up at the health lodge or something and something happens, the time it takes to get that is just too long. So, all right, next slide there, Dylan.
Okay, this one is actually me. So the t-shirt ordering deadline was yesterday. If your unit did not order t-shirts, you have a very, very small window to try and get an order in through me before I place the order with the manufacturer tomorrow morning. So please, if your unit did not order t-shirts and they want to order one of the pre-camp or t-shirts so that it either has your unit number on the sleeve or you get the really swank cool design that we have for this year, that you contact me this evening because the order form is closed. I won't spend very much longer on this, but we had a whole bunch of orders come in. This year's design is pretty nice, and I may order a few extras just in case, but it's hard to do that with so many different sizes and everything like that. And I don't want to end up with extra t-shirts. So contact me after this meeting if your unit is still looking to order t-shirts and you did not order them yesterday when the orders had to be in. There we go. Let's turn it over to Nate.
So just real quick, as Dylan mentioned, we have somebody monitoring the questions in the chat. David Hertzberg has been kind enough to do that, and he's trying to answer as many as possible. And then we'll go back and answer any ones that he wasn't able to cover. All right, off to you, Nate.
All right, so Saga. Again, I'm Nate, program director. So aside from all the different like merit badge classes that we've got going on at camp that your scouts have signed up for, we've also got a ton of different ways that your scouts and other campers and even yourselves as adults can get involved in camp activities. The big way to do that is by joining the Saga of High Sierra. The Saga is our service organization. And it is a way for you to recognize and remember the different things that you were able to try at our camp. We do this by recognizing achievements and activities in the form of beads. So you can see in the picture right there, we've got senior staff member Chris Murphy is wearing a sash full of beads for all the different activities that he's done over the years. But you can earn those in a color coordinated for things from trying your swim check to doing a skit at a campfire to doing skills of the day, service projects, exemplifying points of the scout law, all of that. And that way, scouts can really fill out a really cool necklace. And then there are 4 rank beads that they will earn in their time. Seeker, Guardian, Trailblazer, and Legend. Seeker is kind of your first year at camp. You're trying new things, earning your first merit badge type of thing. Guardian is for returning campers. So their second year at a camp, whether it's second year at High Sierra or they did a different camp before and are now coming to ours because we do transfer if other camps have similar programs. Trailblazers for those starting to develop like leadership projects. And Legend, of course, is the leadership goal for leading a larger service project and doing a high adventure activity at our camp. So really cool thing to check in on and be aware of throughout the week, because there's plenty of times to try out those activities that will earn you some stuff. And then On that subject, it's not quite on the slide, but something that we're doing newer this year is that we're going to have a lot more open program activities in the afternoons. So when your scouts have registered for classes, we try to put in there having just open periods. So you sign up for that block to be dedicated towards doing just different drop-ins throughout. Leaves your schedule less, rapid fire one thing after another, and more so you get some breaks in there and you get some opportunity to just check out what's going on and around and try new things. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, we do have a slide for it. Other important changes to our program for this year. We've put in some more merit badges into our welding area, kind of making it our trades specific. So we've got welding, we've got electricity from before, and now we're doing plumbing, adding that merit badge in. We've got cowboy action shooting up at the rifle range, which is for 14 and older scouts. Can go up and try a more advanced shooting sports activity. And it's very cowboy themed, and John makes a good show of it up there. Let's see, all our age minimums are posted on the program guide and schedule. I don't think there were any updates to that from previous years. And then our totem shit and fireman's shit, we teach those in an evening, and we teach that to the adult leaders. And then the adult leaders can then go and teach it as you prefer to your troops. That way it ensures a better instructor to scout ratio. And it's also that you are going to be the ones that are enforcing those rules. So it's best for them to hear them from you in the first place, is how we found it to work out at our camp.
So
Yeah,
talking about the open program, if you received Dylan's email around 5 o'clock, he did, there is a publication in there about what's going to happen during the open program and what things that are available. And they will happen just during a drop-in process. So if you decide to take period 4 as the free one for open program, you can go to all the different things that are happening that day for period 4. All right, back to you, Nate. Sorry.
All right, yeah, this is just a breakdown of some of the age minimums that we have around. Some of these are national standard and are very firm. We cannot be flexible on those. Some of the other ones are recommendations from what we found to work best just from a scout maturity level and in terms of going into these classes. Those can be a bit more flexible, but there's still a recommendation and one that we encourage that is followed, especially for a lot of these denser discussion-based classes, and eco required communications and environmental science and stuff. It's better to have a scout that's a little older and a bit more into it for that. And then some of these age helps for just ability level as well. So not all of those are national standards, but there still are recommendations and what we would encourage people to try things within their ability level.
Bruce.
Yeah, so just going back, I see a few questions here in the chat. We understand that some scouts are going to turn 12 just right after camp. And so as Nate says, we're trying to hold to these ages. If they're 11, there's plenty of time for them to take a lot of these merit badges. If you do have a scout, I notice here somebody's on the swim team, contact us and we'll make provisions for them to get in. But again, if they're 11 years old and don't meet the 12-year-old, there's still plenty of time for them at camp to take a lot of these merit badges. All right, so back to these. So as you sign up for Tentrue next week, some of the merit badges do have fees associated with those. You do not have to pay those at the time of signing up, but you do need to pay those before you come to camp. Or we'll hit you up for it the very first time you get into camp to make sure all those fees are paid. We do not do blue cards anymore, thank goodness. We are totally digital. So at the end of the week, there'll be a printout that we'll put in your cubby by your campsite, and it will show all your scouts and what they've earned or what they got partials in. And then there'll be an export into Scoutbook, which is really exciting this year. We've been pushing our Tentaroo company for 3 or 4 years now to get this, and they finally do have a process for that. So your advancement chair doesn't have to sit there and enter everything one at a time. It will just enter it right in for you, which is great. As Dylan talked about earlier, we will hold all the cards at the top of the road by troop and then let you down as one troop. This helps in a couple ways. One, we have everybody in camp at the same time, and we don't have people just sitting around waiting for everybody else to show up and kind of plugging up the process down in the campgrounds itself. And it also helps for parking. So you'll be parked as a unit. So if you have cars that will need to leave during the week for some reason, we'll be able to park those in the front and not have them buried behind other cars. We do stack cars about 4 deep, especially in our busier weeks, 1, 3, 5, or right now, maybe 4 too. So we do need to park everybody deep. Fires, it's kind of mixed. This has kind of been an interesting one. So we were thinking, since it's been such a wet winter, that we're not going to have to worry about fires, because the last 3 or 4 years we've had drought issues where Cal Fire said no fires, but we're seeing a lot of fires up in the hills already. So it's all going to be based on Cal Fire and what we feel is safe, but hopefully we'll be able to do fires inside the camp. So just a heads up on that. All right, next slide. All right, so as I mentioned, the signups for start next week. So if you are going to camp week 1, your sign up will be at 7 p.m. starting at 7 p.m. May 15th. And then you can see the other weeks there for what days. We will, Dylan will send out an email with a phone number to call. We'll have 3 or 4 of us that will be in the office as a hotline and can help you with any issues. But these are the days that you sign up, and the merit badges are first come, first serve. And we'll talk to you a little more about this when we get to the Tentaroo section. There we go, the Tentaroo section. So first of all, if you want to sign in, there is a troop 9999, and the password for that troop is testing with a capital T1. I'm sorry, the username is testing. It's in the chat. It's testing1. And the password is camping 2023. And what that will do is it'll let you put in any scouts that you want and try out, getting them merit badges and experimenting with Tentaroo, so you have a little experience, something to do over the weekends if you have nothing else to do Mother's Day weekend. But this will let you experience what you're going to see when it happens live next week. So you want to make sure that you have all your scouts already complete in there before next week, before you sign in. Otherwise, you're going to be competing for merit badges at the same time you're going to be entering in information on each of your scouts. We just need the areas that say required, and a couple ones on there that are special needs. Those are mainly dietary and allergies. So we do provide special diets if needed. If you could put anything in there, vegetarian, we don't consider that a special diet. We will serve vegetarian every meal. But if they're lactose intolerant, gluten intolerant, or something like that, please enter that in there. We do have an area inside the dining hall that we can store extra food for any food allergies. And if you do have any issues, please call the camp or email the camp a week before and talk to me, and we'll go over any issues. And Dylan, have you posted the menu up on the resource page yet?
Not until we get it approved through the dietitian.
Okay, we're still waiting for it to be approved. And then it's still subject to change of availability through our food provider, but it's pretty solid at this point. Janet, am I missing anything on this?
Yes, please.
The special needs, somebody just mentioned that. You can see the block, it's highlighted on the window. I think that's still on Tentaroo.
I see it on your slide. I just don't see it on the actual Tentaroo. I just got on.
There's a difference between your roster and registration, right? So what's happening here is a whole bunch of people are confusing the roster of their unit with the registration of the people who are going to the event of camp. And right now, you can update your unit's roster, i.e. Troop 74's roster of kids, right? And if you came to camp last year, you should already have a partially accurate roster. You should just need to add in the people who are new. And then what will happen next week is you'll be able to turn the roster that you have of people into the participants of who's actually coming to camp, right, Janet?
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's what you're not going to be able to input the special needs until you're able to pull the kids over into the event of camp, and that starts next week when the merit badge signups happen.
Thank
And
you.
you can also use the Troop 9999 account to see exactly what information is required. So you can have that information ready when you're move them to the participant list.
The special needs and the dietary restrictions could be entered as part of the individual profile. They're not part of the registration. They're part of the profile.
Look, you can either stay here and wait for the IKEA mop.
Okay, move on to the next slide here.
No.
So when you're registering, you will first see all the classes that are offered first period. Now, archery is one of those unique ones that they have a qualify. And the way that we set this up to make sure that the scout takes a qualified period also is the first one there you see it says archery 1-4. So that means they would take their instructional class period 1 and they would do their qualifying period 4. If they wanted to do 1-5, they would take the next one down, or 1-6, they would take the one after that. Then if this actually scrolled down, you would see the next one would be 2-4, 2-5, 2-6, and then 3-4, 3-5, 3-6. So the classes are offered first, second, and third for instruction, and then there's 3 periods in the afternoon for qualifying. Once you select something for first period, all the first period merit badges disappear. So if you selected that first one that said 1-4, anything that's in period 1 would disappear. We have added something new this year, just called open block. If somebody selects open block for period 1, it would just erase all the period 1 merit badges. So to get to the period 2, you don't have to scroll through them. And that goes for any of the different blocks. You can put in a placeholder basically, so you don't have to scroll past all the merit badges for that block. Am I missing anything here, Janet?
No, Bruce, that's everything.
So this is a bit like Amazon. So as you put in the merit badges, you will need to check out. And we'll go over that a little bit more. But until you check out, you don't own that merit badge. So that merit badge could disappear from you until you actually check out. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. We'll go back one for a moment. So here, this person has selected advanced metalworking for period 6. Archaeology, I can't even read it. My eyes are getting old. I guess that's 4 for advanced metalworking and archaeology. And sit in the community. Then you would hit the next button and go ahead and go to the next slide. And this is where you would check out this scout. You click on the left-hand side where it says total event fees. You can say pay amount later. If you put in pay as you go, you're going to have to enter in a credit card every time you do this. And it's just, there's a fee for the credit card. It just doesn't make any sense. So please select the pay later option. And again, on the financial summary, you want to say pay 0. And then you hit the checkout button, which is highlighted there. And then you hit the complete button at the bottom. I'm sorry, you hit the place order and then complete. It's not the most intuitive system. It was definitely not written from somebody in the Silicon Valley. But again, we encourage you to go to the Troop 999 so you see exactly what you need to do. All right, next slide.
Okay, so we've got a fun event coming up that is good for getting some of your folks up to camp for preparations on the whole week of the summer. It's also a good time to start building a relationship with a specific campsite that you're going to be in maybe spruce it up a little bit, and also just in general, get the camp ready to go. We're hoping that we have access to all the campsites by May 26th. We'll see, depending on the snow. But we're running this event. It should be a lot of fun. It's Friday, May 26th to Sunday, May 28th. And it's just a general good time. We encourage your unit to sign on up and come on up. We've got a fantastic chef cooking some really good food. Wave to everybody. Or not. Yeah, there we go. David's going to cook some great food, and Bruce will be there. I'll be there. Lots of folks will be there. And this is a good time if you have any youth who are really interested in going for Legend this summer. We know we already have a couple of youth that are coming up to this weekend to scope out potential Legend projects and or start to do some planning. And this is a really good opportunity for that. We also have another small second bite at the apple listed there, the Order of the Arrow Ordeal, June 2nd through June 4th. That is a by invite only event, of course. So please make sure that if you have any youth that are interested in going to that ordeal because they've been elected, that they sign up for that as soon as possible. But if they've got any specific projects or anything that they would like to work on as a follow-up from the adopted campsite, that'd definitely be something to work out with the lodge. Let's see. Fun question. Who's the chef this year? Bruce, do you want to tell him?
Sure. We have Victor Sanchez is coming back. He was our chef about 8 years ago, and we're really excited. He's really a good cook, and I can only imagine how much his repertoire has grown since he cooked for us 8 years ago. There was a question about merit badges went live in terms of what's offered. It was around May 1st. It's on the resource page on the website. Dylan sent out an email today, and then multiple emails that have that link in it, so you can go directly to that. So yeah, we're really excited about Victor too. So is there any questions, Dave, that we've kind of missed in that?
There's
And
only
I-
one question. There's only one question that hasn't been answered, and Janet may be able to answer it. It has to do with how you use the roster and access to it.
So the roster is, you can access a roster by going to settings from your profile. On your left-hand side panel, you see settings and go to my group. But I see someone mentioned that you can't see the special needs yet. That's correct. You can't see it until you add them to the as a participant. So you won't be able to access, see that field until next week when you sign up for classes.
So in terms of fire, we should have plenty of wood up there. The storms knocked down a lot of stuff out of the trees, and there's just plenty of wood, so you don't need to worry about bringing wood.
Okay, now is the time. If anyone has any general question that they think would be good for the group or they want to. So the COVID guidelines have changed as of the Risk Management Committee updating them today to be slightly easier than they were before. Bruce, do you want to reiterate those so I don't get them wrong?
Right. So again, it's strongly recommended that you test all your scouts before you come to camp. We really appreciate that. If we do start to see an outbreak in camp, we will start testing everybody in camp once a week. We will be testing our staff once a week just to make sure that they stay healthy. There will be some not changes, but some things that we'll be a little strict on. If you're taking anything that is at Pinecrest, where you actually are in the Pinecrest van, everybody in the van will be required to wear a mask. It's just very close quarters, and we just don't want to take any chances there. So we do want to make sure everybody is masked there, and we will supply masks, obviously, since we're asking that too. But if you can bring masks, that would help.
I'll handle. So in terms of the vaccine cards and things like that, we don't need photocopies of everything, but what we need is on health form section B, it has a list of when all of the vaccinations are. We need that record. So that's the record that's important for us, is that to know that folks have different vaccinations at different times. And once again, as Bruce said, I'll reiterate, the tetanus vaccine is the one that we care the most about within the last 10 years, besides obviously COVID.
Yeah, and you don't need to bring test kits with you. I mean, if you want to, that's great. We have acquired close to 1,500 of them so far for the summer. So we should have plenty up there, but it's up to you. If you want to bring them, that's fine too.
Yeah, confirming it's not required, it's strongly recommended.
There's another question in the text about COVID.
Yep, so this is what we're saying, the policy just updated. So we're having, right, Bruce, it's
Yes.
strongly recommended that people take a test, but it's not required.
So we don't need to have proof on your health form. Like Dylan said, there is a part for vaccines. You can write in there that you're COVID vaccinated. And that we'll trust you on that. So if anybody else has any questions, feel free to unmute and
Yeah,
I
have-
question. I'm sorry. Go ahead, whoever spoke up there, but I didn't want to cut you off.
That's okay. I do have a question. For the medical forms, if we get those to you, you said 2 weeks in advance. I also remember something in a training video or something that you would transport those medical forms to camp. Is that the case, or do we need to take those with us?
no, that's the point. We will check them and then we'll bring them up the Thursday before the week that you're going to show up. So you don't need to transport them or anything. We'll have them there at the office. So when you check in at the office, which one of the first things you do, you'll get the forms that we transported up for you.
Thank you.
And yeah, of course, if there's an issue with some of the forms, we'll let you know.
I have a question on the COVID. Is just the 2 vaccines okay, or do they have to have the 3rd and the 4th? It's just the 2.
Actually, right now, anything's okay.
Okay,
We're taking people that are not vaccinated. We ask that they show proof that they tested before they come up. But
you're still doing this, huh, Bruce? This is Tom Kaczynski.
oh, hey, Tom.
Hey,
Yep, still around.
I'll see you up there.
Okay,
Fantastic.
I have a question. I've been having, I was not aware that the merit badge list had been posted. Also, I've been trying to register the scouts. I did not know about the roster. So I guess I can, our troop can register our 20 scouts and our 4 adults anytime. So, and we'll try to get the scouts to pick their merit badges by Wednesday or Thursday. And when this thing goes live for week 3, we have just one person entering all the merit badge schedules, or does each person enter their own, or how does that work?
So one person for the troop enters in all of them. Again, this wasn't written by somebody in the Silicon Valley, so it can't take multiple users. So one person enters in all the merit badges.
And on that same note, if your groups have more than 40 campers, you can let us know and we can split your group into 2. So 2 of you can use 2 different accounts to sign up for your scouts.
So the one person entering all these merit badges, let's say 20 scouts, we're talking 80, 100 merit badges.
Yep.
This person is going to be paying for them one step at a time as they register them?
No, like I mentioned, you don't pay for them at all. I mean, you just say pay later, and at the end, you'll get a total bill for any of the classes that have fees. It's not all the classes. It's like pottery, archery, rifle, shotgun, and transportation up to Pinecrest. Those are the ones that have fees. And then just when you're done, you don't have to even pay that night. You can pay anytime before you get to camp, week 3.
And the other main reason that we go with one representative is just to make it as fair as possible. Otherwise, there would be a run on merit badges for certain troops, and other troops probably wouldn't be able to get into them. So this
But it's not just that, the system literally will crash.
Yeah, that too.
And you will think you have signed somebody up, and then all of a sudden you realize that person doesn't have it. So that's why one person, and everybody's going to kind of going through the same thing. I'm a scoutmaster also. So I'm going to be signing up 20 boys and 12 girls all at one time. So we're all kind of in the same boat.
Okay, that's good to know. So the roster I can get done. I found the merit badge list on your website. That's all good. We've got a list of all the paperwork that needs to be done. The COVID thing is basically you don't need to do anything, but you're highly recommending a test, you said.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All good. Thanks a lot for the information.
Yeah,
And thanks
so
a
one-
lot to you. I'm
One-
sorry. Thanks to you, Janet, for taking my phone calls over the last week. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And one comment, I think Mr. Thompson said he's in week 3 and you mentioned like Wednesday, and it opens Tuesday,
Tuesday.
for week 3 at 7 PM. So
Oh, good catch.
Yep.
Yeah, so I have a
Makes it
question.
a little tighter, but okay. Thanks for the heads up.
One other suggestion is if you've got scouts that need certain Eagle required merit badges, sign them up first.
Yeah.
Get those merit badges, and you don't have to select all their merit badges. You can sign up their specific Eagle required, check out, and you can always come back and add in the other ones later. But that way you guarantee for your scouts that have to have these merit badges this summer, that they've got them locked in and you won't lose them.
Okay.
It's also recommended that you get a listing of the merit badges from your scouts, have them select 2 per session. That way, if you cannot get their first choice, you don't have to fall back and go and ask them a second question. You can simply default to their second choice and enter it at the time that you're doing the entry. You can go back and edit it later if you need to, but not having a second choice would not be the most efficient way to do it.
Yeah, you're going to need to be flexible.
Is this the first time you've done it this way?
No, we've been
Okay,
doing it this
so-
way for 9 years.
So historically, on the first day of sign up, is it a server crash, or do a lot of people wait, or is it a free for all when the clock ticks 7 o'clock?
It's only 1 week signing up on a day, so you're not competing against the whole summer. So on Tuesday, it's only going to be week 3 people signing up. And it is a bit of a free for all trying to get certain merit badges, but the server has never crashed on us. It's manageable if you're prepared.
Okay.
Can you give
Thanks
us
for the
an idea?
information.
Can you let us know which merit badges tend to be the most popular?
So I would say the Eagle required merit badges, metalworking, and then probably rifle.
And I would say that another thing to always consider is just anything that has artificially, but real limited space as a result of challenges with either supervision or products like welding. So welding can be hit or miss. The class can either be completely full because people are interested, or there can be a few people signed up. Either way, it's got a smaller class cap than any of the other classes simply because of the supervision needed and the materials that are needed.
I have a question.
I just had a follow-up question about for rifle, that when you have to do a qualifying on your merit badge or on the list, it has the qualifying session like all through 4, 5, and 6, and it's not broken up. Is it for the entire afternoon, or is that just a typo?
I fixed that. It should be up to date now on the website. It was a small mistake.
Okay.
So I have a separate question not related to Tentaroo. I read about the SPL week, and we don't have a scout available to attend SPL week. So is there anything we can do to mitigate the effects of that?
It's really just a bonus, right? The SPL week is hey, let's get your SPL up there the week before so that there's someone familiar with camp. It's not, there's no real negative downside to not having someone go outside of it. Maybe, getting your feet under you at camp. Make sure, you may not just prepare and look at as many of the materials prior to going to camp as possible, and you should be good.
Okay. So my question about Tentaroo is, we have a troop of 45 boys, right? So can we use the same account and log in simultaneously at the same time to do registration?
No, we will actually create let's say your troop number 200. So we'd have a 200A and a 200B. And you'd have a separate account to log into. Is that correct, Janet?
Yes. And we only split the groups that have more than 40 or more scouts.
Okay, I'll reach to you, Janet, tomorrow or sometime to do that.
Yes, and reach out to me or Dylan for the login credentials for your second group.
Can I get 3? Is it possible?
No.
Nope.
No, just let everyone know when we're creating these multiple groups, it's creating a significant administrative amount of work on our end to be able to do that. So
Okay.
that's why we can't split it into a whole bunch of different ones. Also, you're gonna have to keep track of the finances separately at this point, basically, right? So when we split you, it's like you're 2 actual individual separate groups as opposed to linked with each other.
But this
All right,
was
appreciate
feedback
it.
that we got from last year that, that you would like to do this, and it seems more fair to have the 2 groups. So we are taking the extra effort to do this for you.
Thank you. I'll reach out. That's better than nothing. That's just myself doing it 45 times. Thank you.
And just so everyone knows, at the end of this meeting, so at 8 o'clock, I will reopen the t-shirt order form for an hour or 2, so that people can go in and put in any last minute orders, but I'll have it close again shortly after that. So please put in any t-shirt orders between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Pacific time, so that I can get it closed and then get the order into the manufacturer.
You please drop that link in the chat.
Okay, will do.
Quick question about SPL week. Sorry. Quick question about SPL week. If we have a scout that wants to go to SPL week, can they work on their merit badges that week? And how do we sign them up for their merit badges, if so?
So if you go
Yeah,
ahead, Dylan.
I was gonna say, so SPL week registration hopefully would have been taken care of by now, because they basically put them in as individuals, and then they need to have their merit badges signed up for as individuals. We still have a short period of time to do this. So if you have an SPL that wants to go to SPL week, they should be signing up like tonight, tomorrow at the very latest by midday. And the idea is that when they go during SPL week, they're doing the merit badges that they would largely do when they're up there with your troop, so that when they're up there with your troop, they can act as a leader.
Good question. I noticed in the leader handbook, it recommended that for the older scouts, if they not sign up for more than 2 or 3 merit badges. Usually we have our guys sign up for more than that, but I didn't know how, is there any kind of restriction on that? Or?
No. Sorry, I keep taking answers. Bruce, do you want to cover that one?
Sure. Yeah, they can sign up for more. We do recommend that they have an open block in the afternoon so they can take this new open program that we're offering. But yeah, we're not limiting to what they take. I'm not even sure. I have to look back in the leader's guide to see what that's actually referencing.
Okay. Yeah, and I was wondering if we don't have anybody going to SPL week, any recommendations for how many things the SPL ought to sign up for, even if they're going to be busy with the leading and stuff?
That's a tough one. I would say that, you don't want to shortchange the SPL by not letting him take what merit badges he has. So as much help as you can give to him and still give him a fair break. Nate, did you have some?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be up to him. Like if they're trying to, get to all their Eagle required merit badges and stuff, then, we don't want to limit anybody. But in some ways, the reason it's nice to do SPL week and give them more free time in the second week is that as the leader of the troop, it is nice to have a bit more bandwidth and like free time to help take care of people. So I just encourage having a discussion with them, what they would want to get out of camp, and if they think they can do all that while still taking a full load of classes.
I'll get a question on week 6.
Yep.
We still have I know it's a little light on that week, but will all these merit badges be available for that week?
Right now we're looking at, yes, that they'll all be available.
Yeah.
We will do though, if we see there's only like one person signed up to a class, we will close that class. So it's, nobody wants to do a class of 1.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We'll work with you on that.
We'll make sure that on week 6, all of the badges are available. It's just that, like Bruce was saying, some of the times may close up just based on lack of signups.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, so you guys on the roster, we have the roster, but we can't register them as participants until, let's say, on Thursday when we sign up.
That's
Last year we
right.
used to. Okay,
You
so they
can,
took
so-
away that option.
Yes, so you can't move them into the participant until the merit badges actually open up on your day.
Okay.
You gonna be up there?
What?
Are you gonna be up there?
I'm trying. I'm dealing with jury duty right now. And then the second question, I probably have to get with Janet tomorrow. I just found out we have a person who signed up that's actually in a different troop, but he's coming with us. What do I need to do?
So you would sign him up just like you would put in a new scout into your roster and get the
Yeah.
merit badges he wants to take. And then on Thursday, when you do your signups, you would just sign him up like one of your own.
Okay. Okay. And his BSA number will just throw him into scout book, his scout book.
Yeah, I don't think the BSA number is required,
No,
It
it's
is-
not.
but it will help when it comes time for scout book.
Okay, well, I'll fill in those blanks between now and then. I mean, like in June or something. Okay, I think then that was my two questions. Thank
Did you
you.
have something, Janet?
I think the BSA ID is required, Bruce,
Oh,
when you
okay.
move, when you move your scout to the participant list, the BSA ID is required.
Yeah, okay, so we need to get those in on the roster for sure.
That's
Yeah.
new for the scout book interface.
Okay, that's not a problem. And then I guess we have the girls, they've got their own account. We can split the boys up. We have 45 going this year.
Yes, you can have 2 for the boys. And how many girls?
12.
So you'd have 1 for the girls and 2 for the boys.
Okay, and should I get with Janet tomorrow and how that's gonna split out?
So get with me tomorrow and I'll give you the login for the second group of your troop.
Okay, that's cool. Great. That's awesome, you guys. That's a really great option for the real big groups.
Yeah, you were one of the groups that we identified, so.
Thank you. Okay, good. This is an awesome meeting, guys. Thank you.
And I just got 414's t-shirt order. Yay.
Do you have recommendations for kids who want to take more than one course that has a qualifying requirement? Like I have a kid who wants to do climbing and archery and rifle. I'm assuming that's too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nate, that's a you question.
Yeah, their time's going to be pretty split. And especially, yeah, I'd say that they pick their favorite.
So probably one of those 3 or 2 of those 3 or
depends on the scout. Maybe 1, maybe 2, but 3 would be pushing it.
Okay.
And
do they usually use that entire week of the qualifying to pass everything off, or do they sometimes finish early and then they can go on to the open program or something like that?
It's kind of a mix. A fair number of people will finish, before the end of the week and have that time, but that there's also some scouts that just don't show up to the qualifying time until later. So encourage them to make the most use of their qualifying time, and then if they end early, they get to use it as free time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, we're gonna keep things going here for another 5 minutes or so. So if you have any more questions, and then a little after 8, we're gonna start shutting things down. So thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. We're looking forward to seeing you at High Sierra this summer. I can't wait to get there myself. Remember, adopt a campsite. That is coming up Memorial Day weekend. It's a fun time to go up there. It's great if you've never seen the camp before, if you have parents that are worried that their kids are going to get lost at camp or whatever, they get to see the camp and feel a little more comfortable about it. And you don't have to cook. All you have to do is show up and help us set up some tents and have fun while you're up there. So thank you again, everybody, and we'll stick around for another 5 minutes taking questions, then close things down.